Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. So today we're gonna go to Gropo. I'm gonna visit some bouldering gyms in Groningen this week because it's vacation. But yeah, it's gonna be a really long train drive and will probably take maybe like a day or 2 days after I visited one boulder gym to upload the the next boulder gym on the channel. So it will probably take some time because it's quite far, and yeah, I probably don't have too much time to edit also because of this. But I will try my best to upload the videos that I made as fast as possible. But yeah, it's gonna be a really long train drive and I'm not really looking forward to it. I really hope that I just live like in the middle of the Netherlands, so I could just be there in maybe 2 hours. But well, I don't really live really close by. I don't really live in the middle of the Netherlands, so it's a little bit disappointing. So I have to be in the train for almost 4 hours, so yeah, I'm not really looking forward to it, but let's go, I guess. So we're at our first stop, Almere Centrum. Train drive was around 1 hour and 15 minutes. I'm quite tired because I had to wake up pretty early. And yeah, the next train trip from Almere Centrum to Groningen will be 1.5 hours. So yeah, I'm not really looking forward to this train trip to Groningen, but I think it's going to be alright when I'm at the gym. But yeah, it's just going to take such a long time and I'm just so tired. It's like completely like empty, with sometimes like a car just going by. But like, where the hell am I? Like, what? It really didn't took me 3.5 hours or something like that. No, but we are finally here, I guess. Right, so one of our first reviews said something about the cleanliness in the men's changing room. So let's see how that will be. So yeah, it smells pretty nice. It doesn't smell sweaty at all in the men's changing room, which the review said a whole different story about. So yeah, I think we can already like take that one off as a false. Let's now see if the showers are clean. Well, looks pretty clean though, like the normal standard climbing shower. It's also nice that they have this. So alright, so now for the toilet. Yeah, looks pretty clean to me. So yeah, I'm not gonna remove any points. Let's begin climbing, I guess. So there's a nice kids area here. beginning, but that you can like basically do this statically. Like you could just see a moment ago. So first mistake from the wood setters is to make the first hold a sloper and the second hold a massive jog, and just putting those two not that far from each other. Then why use the crimp right there if you can just basically like put a heel on there and just go completely statically to that last move and just match. Like, I do like this boulder, but I have to remove points because I don't think this is the real beta, because I think the real beta is to go up, then match this hold right here, and then go two hands, one on left, one on right, and then to just go to this crimp and just like, you know, do a little, you know. But yeah, I'm going to remove points for this, sorry. For the people projecting this blue one, a really good tip that I have for you guys is you begin with pressing, to immediately go with two hands onto this one dynamically, and then pull yourself to this hold, and then just like a matter of time to, you know, get this hold, and then you can like jump to this one, and then you can basically like sit here, and it's quite easy. I think if you just go with like two hands on this hold, the dyno is quite easy, and you also feel that it's more possible. So in a few attempts you will be able to do this boulder, but there isn't like a lot of choke on this hold, so it's kinda, yeah, you know, scrapes off a little bit of your hand skin, but I think it's alright. So yeah, that's basically like the tip that I wanted to give on this boulder. I hope for the people that project this one that they can now do the project and yeah, move on to a older one. So there's also a really nice training area. You have a bench press here, nice rings for the kids to play on, weights here, more weights here, elastic band, and here's some nice hangboards. I'm missing a campus board though, but that's alright, you don't always need that in a gym. And there's also a weighted belt here, so that's pretty nice. Huge spray wall, tension board, I think one is this. Really nice spray wall, kilter board. Oh, there's the campus board. Also really nice. Nice fence too. Yeah, I think. Oh wait, I'm going to lower it 1 point because there is not that many weights, like really huge weights. So I'm probably going for like a 9. Okay, so now I'm gonna rate the rest of the stuff. So let's begin with the Routesetting. So yeah, the total score of the Routesetting is a 8. I'm gonna remove 1 point though because of the better breaking on like the 9 outside. Even though it's set it for, you know, people that are a lot shorter, I don't really think that should be like a reason why a boulder is better breakable. It's definitely like they could have maybe like, you know, made the slope instead of just like a slope and, you know, having like the holds close by. They could also just make it like a little bit better of a hold, so you have to like jump and then just like catch, but they didn't really do that. So I feel like that's just a missed opportunity and not really like, you know, a thing that because the root setters wanted to, you know, set something for the shorter people, that it's then because of that better breakable. Because I definitely think that the root setters could have just like, you know, thought about that and just, you know, changed that completely. I also think that the place where the kids can like, you know, climb is also really not that big. It's like a square, which just like, you know, there maybe 2 or 3 kids can climb there, which is just like, you know, why even make it at all? I think I definitely also have like a bit of like a problem with like the grades and like the amount of hard boulders. Like there's definitely like a few really hard boulders in the gym, but I definitely do think that if I have like a second session here, that I am mostly done with every single boulder in the gym. There's like a few really weird boulders, not even like hard boulders, but just really weird boulders. Just like, you know, having really weirdly placed modules that you don't really, you know why they put it that like that. And also like, you know, boulders that just don't really feel like you really want to climb them. But a lot of the boulders are really, really nice. having like really nice heel hooks in them and really nice knee bars and toe hooks. So it's definitely like a really good gym to learn technique, but I really wouldn't recommend it for people that, climb above 7Bs or climb 7Bs quite, easily, because yeah, then you will have like a problem that you are or will be done in like 1 or 2 sessions. But it's definitely good if you're like a 7A climber, so you can like, be quite challenged by a lot of like 7As and 7Bs, and also like the easier boulders, because the boulders definitely feel like the grade, or sometimes also even a little bit harder than the grade. So yeah, I think that's quite nice. And also like if you already want to, focus on technique, then this is like the perfect gym to, focus on like technique on slabs and also power boulders. So yeah, I think the total score will be a 7 for me for the Routesetting. So yeah. Now for the friendliness, the sociality, well, I definitely think the staff was really, really friendly. But there is like the problem with like the sociality. There is not really that many people in the gym. There was like maybe 1 or 2 persons in the gym that I saw, and earlier on the day there was maybe like five as a max. So like I think I'm gonna have to give it like a 4. I definitely think the friendliness in this gym is really, really good, but I definitely think that the sociality just really isn't like that. It just isn't really like a gym that is like really social in like the way of like, there isn't any people climbing in the gym at all. Like, there's almost nobody in the gym, and I just felt quite, disappointed about that. But all right, now for the cleanness, I think the boulders were quite clean. I didn't slip off boulders quite that much. There were also like really nice brushes lying around that you could like, clean the holes a little bit with, because some were have had like a little bit of like chalk on them. um but yeah, I slipped 2 times out of the crimpy boulder, but that was basically because yeah, I had really dry finger skin, not really because I slipped out of the boulders, because the boulders had a lot of like chalk on them. Because I definitely feel like this gym is quite clean. So yeah, I think I'm gonna give it, because there was like a little bit of chalk on the walls, but it was for the rest quite clean. I will be rating it, I think, a 9, because yeah, I think this is just a really clean gym, and I don't really have anything bad to say about it. Alright, so now for the air quality slash conditioning. Well, I definitely felt like there was quite some ventilation, definitely in the middle of the gym, but like at the area above, where like the changing rooms are, there wasn't really that much ventilation. Also at the back of the gym, there also wasn't really that much ventilation. Like there was like a little bit of ventilation, but in the middle of the gym there was like a lot. It was really nice to, be able to climb outside, and it's also really nice that one of the bouldering areas is also outside, but more under a roof. It felt like a really nice fresh breath of air, from like the really sweaty indoor climbing. I'm going to rate it, I think, like a 7.5. I definitely think they can definitely do more better job with the ventilation. I also do think that they can maybe put like a more ventilation also in the training area. But I definitely do think that they have a really decent amount of ventilation in the gym and just really nice air quality. But I definitely do think that in the summers it could get quite sweaty in the gym. Definitely at the back ends of the gym and above in like the indoor gym. Um, so yeah, I wouldn't really, go to those 2 places if you, want to projectile. But outside is definitely like really nice, and also in the middle of the gym, it's just like, really, really nice. So yeah, now for safety slash safeness. Well, I didn't really saw that much safety rules. But the people in the gym, like the few that were there, knew the safety rules. Because there aren't really that much people, and because the gym is mostly just empty, and a lot of the people climbing in the gym knew what the safety rules are. I'm going to rate the safety, I think, like an 8. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna rate it a 10 because I don't know what it will be like when there's a lot of people, but I definitely do think that they have like a really decent amount of like safety. So yeah, I think that's all. So yeah, let's now go to our last two reviews and then we're gonna go to the total score. So our first review is by Benjamin Din. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. The end of an era. The staff and people are still great, but some new rules have made the place much less of a welcoming social hub. The attached cafe area has been far emptier as of late since the ban on laptops. Taking your own food, so good luck hanging out with friends if you have any dietary restrictions. And earbuds, question mark. On the wall, it's understandable, but policing the use of earbuds in your seating area is hilarious. If you are looking to spend a day, I would probably recommend going elsewhere unless you are just looking to boulder and go home after. So yeah, I definitely think this guy is right, even though I don't know about the laptop thing. Even though I didn't took a laptop with me to test out, or if they were, going to you and, saying something to you about it. I definitely saw that there were like no people at all in the gym, like maybe 2 or 5 at max. There is like, on top logo, it says that there has been like 20 people that climbed 7A, so I expected a more crowded gym, but I didn't saw like almost anybody, which was just like really surprising. So I definitely think this guy is right with that. So, well, will I believe this or not? Well, I do think that I believe this because there was also nobody in the cafe area. So, yeah, I think I'm gonna remove 1 point for this review. So, our last review is by Jason. I've been climbing for a while and generally appreciate thoughtful modern route setting, but this gym is increasingly drifting away from being accessible to the broader climbing community. I understand and actually respect intention to avoid a very commercial, overly rewarding style of setting like you might find at Apex. A more technical, less giveaway approach can be refreshing. That said, it feels like this gym overshoots that goal. Many problems seem designed more around the personal preferences of the route setters than around clear, readable movement. A noticeable number of routes are sandbags or rely on a extremely specific start position or a single intended beta, where even small deviations make the problem feel impossible rather than challenging. This significantly limits creativity and problem solving, which are usually core strengths of bouldering. The grading approach reinforces this issue. New routes are often left with joker grades for long periods, and the extra grades are hidden in top logger. This makes it unnecessarily difficult to plan sessions, manage load, or track progressions. Grading does not need to be perfect, but it should be transparent and usable on the wall. Overall, the gym increasingly feels less like a public bouldering facility and more like a semi-private space catering to a small, already initiated group climbers who enjoy cryptic puzzles and insider-style setting may appreciate this, but average climbers or those trying to progress in a structured way are likely to find it frustrating. There is clearly a strong setting talent here, but a better balance between challenge, readability, and accessibility would make the gym far more enjoyable for a wider range of climbers. So I do think that they do give the boulders quite a low grade, but I don't think like there's like a lot of boulders that just require one move. I definitely feel like a lot of the boulders in this gym have like a lot of technical and really like quite hard moves in one boulder. Um, but yeah, I do think that this guy is somewhat right. It's definitely like the grades that just make the bouldering in this gym just not really like um, that interesting for a lot of climbers that really want to improve. So Yeah, I think definitely like it's definitely like a little bit like sandbagged with like, some 7As definitely feel harder than others. And definitely like, the 7As in this gym definitely felt like a lot harder than a lot of the gyms that I've been to. But I definitely don't think that the root sellers only set boulders that they really want to set, but they also really try their best to, make boulders that are also, for shorter people, but also for like, they also try to, make boulders that you really learn something from and that are quite techy, but also, have really different styles and, just require some weird beta that you maybe don't really find that fast in uh, when, climbing the boulders, that you have to really like, take some time on. Um, so yeah, I guess like maybe this guy just really, climbs maybe some 7As or climbs on 7A grade, like on like the grade of like 7A. But I do feel like, if this guy just took a little bit more time working on the boulders and just like, figuring them out, then he would probably see that the boulders aren't really like super sandbag, but just like maybe like a little bit harder than other gyms. So going to be agreeing a little bit with this guy. So I'm gonna remove 1 point from the total score, but I don't think that this guy is completely right. So the total score of this gym is a 7.08. I'm going to just, make it a 7.1. I do think this gym is really, really nice to climb in. And I definitely think that if you're like a 7A climber or a little bit lower than that, I think this gym is like the perfect gym to, climb in and, train a lot in. But I definitely think if you're like on a level that you do 7Bs quite easily, then you will also see that, that they don't really, set that much really hard boulders, which is just like really disappointing. Yeah, also for the sociality, I was just really disappointed about that. Um, well, the gym is really, really far, so I probably won't be visiting this gym for a really long time, or maybe not ever again. Um, but yeah, I definitely do think that if you're living close to Groningen, I definitely think it's a really good gym to, climb in. And, there's like a lot of technical climbs in the gym and also quite some dynamic climbs. And the woodsetters just, try their best to make something, to make boulders that, are for everyone, shorter climbers and more longer climbers, which I really appreciate. And there's like a lot of bouldering gyms that don't really do that. So yeah, it's really nice to know that there are gyms like this that just, really want to, try to do their best to set something for everyone. So yeah, my review about this gym is if you are a 7B climber, then it's probably still a pretty nice idea to go to this gym once because the boulders are quite technical. But if you're like a really like experienced climber, you have climbed higher than 7Bs, then I think you should just like, maybe climb once in this gym and then just, you know, just keep it at one time climbing. I definitely think that for the climbers that climb 7As and lower, it's really nice to go and climb into this gym so you learn a lot of different movements and have learn a lot of technique when climbing in this gym. So yeah, I definitely think that for the lower climbers this is a really good gym. um, but I definitely think for the higher level climbers, like the 7B climbers, that you probably wouldn't be really having a lot of interest in this gym. It's more a gym focused on setting really technical and quite easier boulders than just having really hard boulders where you really have to project on, um, which I'm just a little bit disappointed about, but alright. So yeah, next year will be Apex. So yeah, I will see you guys then. Later.